Mr. Speaker, with his comedy routine, I was going to say that he shouldn't quit his day job, but actually, he should quit his day job.
Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, we've got a bombshell scandal. Justin Trudeau, like every single day. This is an $8 billion scandal. It's Trudeau's Net Zero Accelerator fund. It's one he started 4 years ago, just kind of slipped it under the rug. He's been tight-lipped on this fund. He hasn't given up the documents to show exactly how it's reducing emissions, and it came out today because of the Conservatives. They got access to the documents, and it shows Trudeau's just been giving out our money, $8 billion, with no records of it actually improving the environment. We got a clip here from Conservative Dan Mazier, who's blowing this up. You see here, he posted on X, Justin Trudeau caught giving away $8 billion through another slush fund. The Liberals said the money would lower emissions, but Canada's Environment Commissioner revealed most of the money was handed out without a promise to reduce emissions.
You won't believe this. We may have uncovered the most expensive scandal of Justin Trudeau's government to date. No, it's not We Charity or Arrive scam. This is even more expensive than both of those combined. And it's probably something you've never heard of. The Liberals call it their Net Zero Accelerator, and it's costing you $8 billion. Yes, $8 billion. 4 years ago, Justin Trudeau quietly announced his Net Zero Accelerator program, promising it would reduce greenhouse gas emissions. His plan was to give away billions of dollars to large companies in exchange for specific reduction in emissions. But last week, Canada's Environment Commissioner revealed that Trudeau's Net Zero Accelerator is nothing more than another Liberal slush fund.
Is the government tracking the value for money for this program? Yes or no?
Not in a public way. We've made our own calculations of the value for money that we could based on the data they have, but we have seen no public reporting on the value for money, no.
We learned the Liberals are giving away billions of your dollars to reduce emissions without knowing how many emissions will be reduced. In fact, the Commissioner uncovered the Liberals approved most of their spending without any commitment to reduce emissions. Check this out.
Did the government approve any funding through their $8 billion fund before knowing exactly how many emissions were supposed to be reduced?
Yes.
Really? For $8 billion?
So the majority of the contribution agreements do not have a commitment for reductions. 5 of them do.
And it gets worse. Not only are the Liberals handing out money without knowing the results, but we also learned they've been hiding the truth about their emissions data.
Do you believe that this government is fully transparent with their emissions reporting data?
No, not fully transparent.
In fact, the Environment Commissioner revealed the Liberals could be double counting the emissions they claim to be reduced. Yes, double counting. Is this fraudulent? I'll let you be the judge. You're probably asking who this money was given to, right? And that's a hell of a good question. But no one knows the details because the Liberals refused to release the funding agreements. That's why Conservatives moved a motion to obtain these documents. We wanted to get to the bottom of this. What are they really hiding? Conservatives won't stop until the truth is revealed. Stay tuned.
That's absolutely unreal. All the deals and everything that goes on with the government should be public record on the Canada.ca website. It shouldn't be like, oh, we're not going to show you how we're sending all of your money over to wherever, Davos, Ukraine, all these little slush funds. What else do you expect from Trudeau Liberals? Just wasting our money, giving it to their friends. I bet Trudeau's been giving out millions and millions to all his buddies in these big businesses, probably buddies in big oil, big pharma, big everything. Oh, hey guys, you're the biggest polluters here. Here's a $200 million to reduce your emissions. But don't worry, you don't actually have to reduce your emissions. You can see here from the Office of the Auditor General of Canada, it says if the Net Zero Accelerator does not secure credible emissions reduction, the federal government might not fulfill its commitments. Oh, what do you know? Which would undermine the efforts to address climate change. So we take a look at this article. We can look through it here, but basically there's 3 pillars they have here for reducing emissions. There's the decarbonization of large emitters. It says here, support Canada's 2030 emissions reduction target, remaining in line with a net zero goal by 2050. Prioritize development technologies to be used by 2030, blah, blah, blah. Industrial transformation, help move sectors away from GHG sensitive activities. You know, it's got all these things in here, the clean technology and battery ecosystem development. This is them pushing the whole green giving out billions of dollars to all these companies, building, you know, Honda is the newest one. And you do the math, it's like each job that the company brings in, it costs us, the taxpayers, $5 million, something like that. You can see here, it says the Net Zero Accelerator initiative invites forward-looking Canadian companies, blah, 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 reducing GHG emissions by 40 to 45% by 2030 and achieve net zero by 2050. You know, there are companies out there that are actually doing stuff like this. Remember this guy, Edison Motors, you know, the guy who decided to start up a hybrid diesel electric logging truck company. He retrofits these, builds these. He applied for grants in BC here. He got no grants because the government refused it because he wouldn't use their service to launder the money back into their own bank accounts. Remember that? It seems across the country here, whether it's the BC NDP with David Eby or Justin Trudeau, they're just dishing out our money to all their buddies and getting rich and achieving nothing. Absolutely nothing. And in certain situations, EVs make a lot of sense. Like this here, heavy logging trucks when going downhill, the batteries will generate a ton of power using resistance to generate power on the downhill. So it does make sense to have this technology in certain places, but it's becoming more cloudy as time goes on here if EVs are actually truly a lot more green or not. We've got these new reports coming out that basically the particulates that come out of vehicles, EVs might be on track or more, have more particulates because they're heavier. They're having a lot more dust and particulates coming out of the engines and off the tires than a typical gas motor vehicle. We jump over here to this Wall Street Journal article. It says electric cars emit more particulate pollution. That tires generate 6 million tons of particles a year. Globally, around 200,000 tons end up in the oceans. According to emissions analytics, cars in the US emit on average 5 pounds of tire particulates a year, where fewer miles are driven, shed around 2.5 pounds. So basically it's when like gears and brakes and all the stuff inside the vehicle that come out, as well as the tires themselves that shed. And if we go back to this article here, they note that electric vehicles are between 30 and 50% heavier, so they tend to shed the tires a lot more. And a lot of people know this, the electric vehicles, you just go through tires faster because you got a big heavy battery on the bottom. And if we go down to the bottom of this article, it basically says California keeps pushing for emission standard for cars, but it needs the EPA's approval. The EPA's own emissions model falsely applies the same tire wear emissions rate for all vehicle fuel types, gasoline, diesel, flex fuel, CNG, and electric, completely ignoring the differences in weight. This has come out now, and basically there's a lot more science that needs to be done to show how much particulates are coming out of an electric vehicle versus a gas vehicle, versus the fumes that come out of the vehicle. They all need to be weighed, but electric cars are not this slam dunk that they used to be regarding the environment. One of the main problems with electric vehicles is also their range. The newest vehicle to come out that's electric, this Chevy Silverado, this one is actually really impressive, 440 miles, that's 700 kilometers, which is more than my Honda that I drive. They're starting to get up there, but this is also going to have a huge battery and be very heavy. So does this produce more pollution than my Honda? Time will tell, but when we got guys like Stephen Guilbeault pushing hard for these EVs and it's not quite so clear, not only that, the fact that we've got Stephen Guilbeault here, Canadian Environment Minister tied to NGO in Beijing that could serve influence purposes. He's on the environment board here in China. And he says, oh, I want to be able to push our green technology over there. It's like, he has not said one bad thing about China's unreal amounts of coal usage and how many coal-fired plants are starting up every year. The fact we've got this corrupt loser pushing so hard for this EV future, this green future, yet they're not even looking at the emissions that are being reduced off of the $8 billion of our money being spent. This is deplorable. Next up, we got a couple of clips here from the House of Commons. This one is hilarious. Pierre just, he tells Trudeau to quit.
We have a plan for the economy and the environment. He does not.
Mr. Speaker, with his comedy routine, I was going to say that he shouldn't quit his day job, but actually, he should quit his day job. But he shouldn't go into number crunching, whatever his next job is, because he doesn't believe the economy is about numbers. And I don't blame him, because if I had his economic record, I wouldn't want to talk about numbers either. But it might help him to go to the library and quietly study just a little bit. Will he commit to reading page 3 of the Parliamentary Budget Officer's report, which demonstrates Canadians pay more than they get back in the tax?
We look down the comments here. I'll never quit my day job, never. I'm the king of Canada. Justin Trudeau's ego, what a great account that is. This next clip here is absolutely hilarious. I mentioned in a previous video that Jagmeet's brother is a lobbyist for Metro. So he's a grocery lobbyist, despite Jagmeet pushing to, you know, be Mr. Tough Guy and like, oh, I'm going to get the grocery prices lowered. So Pierre actually calls him on it today.
Canadians are struggling to put food on the table, and what are the Liberals doing? Well, they're giving $25 million to Costco and Loblaws. And what are the Conservatives doing? Well, the Conservatives, their leader is too busy whining and dining corporate lobbyists in private dinner clubs. New Democrats have a clear plan. We need to tackle corporate greed. We need to make sure we bring down the prices and stop giving millions of dollars to corporate grocery stores. When will the Liberals, when will the Prime Minister stop giving big grocery a free ride?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, not only are we continuing to move forward on our grocery code of conduct, but we're working on our project to make food more affordable through competition reforms. And now we're creating a national school food program, which is
we're gonna cut off Trudeau there. We don't need to hear any more of him. National school food program because nobody can afford food. Just more bureaucracy and not actually feeding kids. But what's more important here is how Pierre responds to this after this.
Mr. Speaker, the NDP leader was just asking about why the Prime Minister gave tens of millions of dollars in corporate handouts to powerful grocery chains. So the answer, of course, is that he voted to let the Prime Minister do that. Not a single penny of that money could have gone without the vote of the NDP coalition partner. But we learned something else, that this might have been due to the influence of the NDP leader's spokesman and brother, whose company is a lobbyist for Metro. Would the Prime Minister support an investigation into whether or not the NDP leader's spokesman and brother has been unduly influencing the leader of the NDP?
Yeah. There it is.
The Right Honourable Prime... The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we can see very clearly that all the stories out about the lobbyists' connections with the Leader of the Opposition are actually hurting the Leader of the Opposition, which is why he's asking us...
He just Freudian slipped there. He's going to say the NDP.
Are actually hurting the leaders of the NDP. But he has an opportunity right now, Mr. Speaker, to make it clear that he stands with Canadians and stands to ask the wealthiest to pay a little more.
He goes more into the nonsense. We don't need to hear that today. Looks like Trudeau's got the Hershey squirts here. Next up, we got this posted from Pierre Poilievre, the worst per person income drop in the G7 in the last 5 years. While Americans, Italians, Japanese, and French made gains, Canadians lost ground. Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost. So we've got, yeah, Americans doing well, and basically UK dropped a bit, Germany down, and Canada. Is this a surprise that these are all the highly woke... Now, there's a lot of wokeness in America, but they're really fighting back there. Not so much over here. Look at this comment. Jagmeet Singh's hypocrisy. Yeah, my pension saw returns of 300%. Here's another chart here. Canadians have the largest debt burden of all G7 countries. Yeah, we're just right at the top there. Going over to my group here, let's pull up a few memes. What word best describes Justin Trudeau? Traitor, communist, criminal, or wacko? $20 when I was a kid, $20 at my 30s. Yeah. This is that new military logo. Did you know in order to play the role of a crazy and completely out of touch character in the movie Joker, Joaquin Phoenix listened to Justin Trudeau's speeches? Where's Trudeau flying to today? That awkward moment when a zombie is looking for brains and walks right by you. Yeah. If Trudeau goes to prison, it will be his first complete sentence. No, he's your son. No, he's your son. I thank Christ he isn't mine. When scientists say the universe is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons, they forgot to mention morons. The whiteboard design one's back with this stupid logo. Time to quit. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think's going on with this $8 billion slush fund. It's got to be just Trudeau's buddies. There's got to be back-end deals where it's like, hey, I'll give you $200 to $300 million, and you kick me, you know, 1 or 2 or 5 million of that after I'm out of office. Like, just stupid crap like that that's just horribly corrupt. Otherwise, they'd have strict standards on, well, you have to show us that you've reduced your emissions out of this oil refinery by 15% or whatever, and in return, we'll give you the 200 million or whatever. Like, there's no other way this would work. It's just corruption. It's just straight up corruption. Just one day after the other. At this point, we can just count the number of days until Trudeau is out, and then we can just expect that many corruptions to happen until he's gone. Was that another 450, 500, something like that? Thanks for watching the end of the video here. Be sure to subscribe, turn on the post notifications. If you want to check out some merch, I got that linked up in the shelf thing down below. We're going to keep fighting for freedom until we get it. We're getting closer. See you guys in the next one.